Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator weather forecast. Today I'll be covering the weather for September 24th of 2023, and currently we have a slight risk for Texas into parts of southern Oklahoma, western Louisiana, and southwestern Arkansas. As for threats for today, we don't really have all that much of a tornado threat, but we do have a 15% wind threat, and we have a 15% hail threat with the possibility of large to very large hail and possibly even gorilla hail with that hash region for this 15%. So that's really going to be all that we're going to cover in today's forecast. As for our main threats for today, our main threats are going to be our 15% wind threat and our 15% hail threat, with a little bit more of a threat for large to very large hail with that hash region. However, we are also expected to see the potential of some flash flooding, but not really any organized severe thunderstorms for the Northwest because of tropical storm or post-tropical depression Ophelia. We could definitely see some flash flooding across some of the New England regions. So I'm not going to be covering tropical depression Ophelia in today's forecast, but if you do live in any regions that could potentially be affected by tropical storm or post-tropical cyclone, post-tropical depression Ophelia, definitely make sure you are staying weather alert and watching out for any flash flooding, as we are expected to see heavy rainfall and some flash flooding in the New England region with Ophelia. Taking a look at our weather model, starting off with our 500 millibars like we usually do, focusing on the slight risk region for Texas. You can see that we are expected to have the subtropical jet that is going to continue to linger across the southern United States. It is going to be mostly zonal, so we shouldn't really see any veering of the winds to really support all that much of a tornado threat from this. However, we could definitely see some elongated photographs from this, as our middle of flow is going to be somewhere in the 40 knots, and then our upper level flow in the 200 millibars is going to get into the 70 knots, which is going to definitely lead to some elongated photographs and severely elongated photographs to support the threat of some large to very large hail, possibly even gorilla hail across that region. And that's going to be the primary threat. As for this subtropical jet and what it's going to do by tomorrow, this subtropical jet is expected to weaken down by tomorrow. I can't really go all that far. Let me go back a run, and hopefully we'll be able to see it. This subtropical jet is expected to die down significantly after today, so hopefully we shouldn't really see any more of a severe potential coming from this subtropical jet across Texas or Oklahoma by tomorrow. However, as for today, we are expected to see some severe thunderstorms come out of this subtropical jet. Again, it is going to be mostly zonal, so we shouldn't really see any directional shear to support all that much of a threat for tornadoes, but we could definitely see some elongated photographs to support the threat of large to very large hail, and possibly the threat of some damaging winds across this region as well. Taking a look at our dew points, focusing on the slight risk region, you can see that we are expected to have large amounts of moisture across the Texas region. Across eastern Texas, we are expected to have dew points that are going to be ranging anywhere from the mid and upper 60s into the low and the mid 70s. This will definitely lead to quite a bit of instability across this region, and definitely enough fuel to definitely support our 15% hail threat and the threat for large to very large hail. We could definitely see quite a bit of instability come out of this, but as for our dry line, we are expected to see a little bit of a dry line develop across Texas, and then I will go into our temperatures and I'll show you this a little clearer, but we are expected to have a little bit of a stationary front develop across southern Oklahoma into Arkansas, so that is going to lead to a little bit of a triple point across southern Oklahoma, and that dry line is going to be the primary reason why we have that extending slight risk into the rest of Texas. However, that triple point could lead to a little bit more thunderstorm development across northern Texas and southern Oklahoma, with that dry line leading to that extended slight risk into the rest of Texas. So that's going to be our setup as far as our dry line and our stationary front is concerned. But we could definitely see quite a bit of instability come out of the tons of moisture that we have across eastern Texas. Taking a look at our temperatures, primarily focusing on the stationary front in the north, comparative to the location of our dry line. You can see that we do have some ongoing convection across Arkansas, which is going to lead to a little bit of a stationary front that could develop in southern Oklahoma into Arkansas. And then comparative to the location of our dry line, as I did mention, it does extend across eastern Texas into the rest of Texas and the rest of this dry line. That is going to lead to that triple point across southern Oklahoma. And if we run the animation a little bit forward, you can see that right where that dry line is, you can see that we are expected to have quite a bit of storms fire up where that dry line is. And then, or where our triple point is, you can see we have quite a few storms develop on that dry line, or triple point. And then where that dry line extends into the rest of Texas, you can see that we do have quite a bit of storm development across the rest of that dry line. So that triple point should aid in severe thunderstorm development, as well as that dry line across the rest of Texas. But then as for our temperatures that are going to be into our hundreds and above, and for our heat advisory, you can see that we are expected to have some temperatures that are going to be in the widespread 90s across Louisiana, southern Oklahoma, in Texas, into parts of New Mexico as well. However, we are also expected to have some temperatures that could reach 100 and above. Anywhere where you're seeing these maroon colors across Texas, that is going to indicate temperatures that are going to be reaching 100 and above. So if you do live in any of the areas where we could see temperatures of 100 and above, and you have any plans that could take place outside, which I honestly do not recommend in temperatures this high. However, if you have to have plans outside, definitely make sure you are staying hydrated and watching out for any heat related illnesses such as heat stroke, as they could potentially be fatal if you're not staying hydrated and not watching for those in temperatures this high. Taking a look at our instability, focusing on the slight risk region, you can see that we are expected to have quite a bit of instability across this region. We are expected to see Cape values that could reach some of the mid and upper 3000s across eastern Texas, right where that dry line is, and then some Cape values are going to reach the widespread 2000s, and that's going to be our instability for this location. This instability will definitely be supportive and indicative, and definitely fuel our threat for our 15% hail threat and the threat of very large hail, as well as the threat of some damaging winds across this region. But you can see where that triple point is expected to be. You see that we do have a little bit of swirl with those Cape values that are going to be reaching the 2000s. You can see that we do have a little bit of swirl right where that dry line is, because we are expecting to see a surface low develop where that dry line is. So that is going to be our instability for this region. Again, we are definitely expected to see enough fuel that could definitely support our threats for damaging wind and the threat for small to medium or very large hail, and possibly even gorilla hail across this region. Now that I've told you the weather, please go down to the description and check out the socials for Project Gladiator, and join the Discord for any updates on Project Gladiator. If you live in any of the areas that I covered for today, please stay weather alert for the time being, and hopefully I will be able to see you guys later today with a weekly overlook.